Thanks to Zapier for sponsoring a portion of this video. So last month, I watched a friend spend $2,400 on a TV. Now, he did his research, to be fair, but he ended up picking the one with the logo that he trusted. Now, the set that he picked, it's a perfectly good set. There's nothing wrong with it. He just kind of paid a little bit extra for the wrong reasons. And he's not alone in this, because the way that most people shop for a TV in 2026 is still based off of the rules that have not been true for at least the last 3 years. And by now, you may have heard that Sony and TCL, they signed a deal for a joint venture that's going to start next year. Now, most of the coverage of this was sort of like focused on sort of the shock of those two companies coming together, but I think the shock is the wrong reaction to this. But that deal isn't particularly surprising if you've been paying attention to where the industry is actually going. The deal is just the loudest confirmation of something that's been quietly happening for a while. The premium brand hierarchy that you've been shopping for has been broken behind your back for years. The brands knew, the retailers knew, and the Sony TCL deal just kind of made this impossible to ignore. So let's get you caught up on some of these top secret conversations that are going on behind the scenes, what it'll mean for the entire TV industry, and most importantly, what it'll mean for your wallet. So for most of my TV buying life, the advice, it was pretty simple. You get Sony, Samsung, or LG if you want to get something that is considered the best. TCL and Hisense was what you bought if you just wanted to save some money. Everything else on the market was just for like the garage and the spare bedroom that you never went into. And that advice held up for a real long time because it kind of held true. The premium sets that I was reviewing 5 or 6 years ago weren't more expensive for no reason at all. The processing was actually better. The motion was actually smoother. And the whole experience of using the TV just felt like a little snappier. TCL and Hisense, like back then, they were just okay for the money, but they did come with some real compromises. The upscaling was fine, the motion handling was soft, and the off-axis viewing was bad enough that you would actually scoot your couch over just to fix it. And just the overall build quality of these sets felt like they were trying to hit that low price point. But just fast forward a few years later, and Hisense started hitting brightness numbers that I didn't think that we would see consumer TVs hit for another several years from now. TCL went from undercutting those premium brands to building an entirely new TV category that some of these premium brands just simply can't match yet. You got like SQD mini LED, RGB mini LED, dimming zones in like the tens of thousands, brightness that is pushing 10,000 nits, and black levels that visually will look like OLED side by side. Hisense went from like an absurdly gigantic 116-inch UX RGB mini LED to the UR9 in one generation, and that TV is one of the best TVs that you can buy on the market right now. That is not a normal product cadence in this industry. Keeping up with every new TV, every new partnership, every new tech panel that hits the market is basically a full-time job at this point. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you know that I try to keep my finger on every single release that matters. And thanks to today's sponsor, Zapier, that part of the job got so much easier. If you haven't used or heard of Zapier before, the short version is that it connects over like 9,000 apps that previously just didn't talk to each other. And you don't need to know how to code to do any of this stuff. And the reason why all this stuff matters is the Zapier MCP server. And essentially what this little specific corner of Zapier can do is that it can use the AI tools that you're already using. In my case, I'm using Claude, but it could be like ChatGPT, Google, like kind of whatever you're interested in. And that can call out to Zapier MCP to communicate with your apps on your behalf. So things like Notion, Gmail, Google Sheets, Slack, like those kind of things, it can actually act on what it's reading. And the way that I'm using it right now is I created a TV review pipeline. So every press release that hits my inbox gets turned into a tracked entry in my review queue. If I have a PR email coming in from any of these TV brands that I cover, Claude will go in and it'll read each one. It'll pull out the brand, the model number, the panel type, the screen size, MSRP, and the release date. And then when that new entry goes into Google Sheets, I get a little message on Slack that lets me know that document has been updated. I can even use Claude to ask it to scan the inbox manually and even have it tell me things like pricing trends from the last several weeks from my spreadsheet and just like watch it run. What used to take me like an hour of opening up every single PR email and copying, pasting the specs and like building these rows by hand and inevitably missing something, all of this would just run in under a minute with a single prompt. That is, by my quick math, 60 times faster. If you want to try the template that I built, the link will be in the description down below. But Zapier has saved me a ton of time and it just simplifies this whole process for me. Now, let's get back to talking about some TVs. Now, while TCL and Hisense were sort of experiencing their little glow-ups, it's not like the premium brands are just kind of standing there taking it on the chin. They were moving too. LG kept refining the C and the G series every single generation, and they're still largely the backbone to the entire OLED industry. Samsung took its micro RGB tech from a $30,000 commercial set all the way down to a $3,200 65-inch R95H in about a year, which is really wild if you think about that. And then there's Sony. And Sony is kind of the entire reason why I wanted to make this video in the first place. So let me tell you why. I recently got invited to go and check out their new true RGB TVs at a Sony event. And the whole experience was like, in a way, kind of the entire point. Sony puts on these events because they want to remind people in the room exactly who they are. Like you're walking around an active studio lot on Sony Pictures, you're hanging out on a real volume stage, which they've used to shoot a lot of the films that you have already watched. And then there's iconic set pieces and props and from movies and TVs. You're seeing new friends and you're making new ones. It's a whole thing. It's all very cool, but it's all like very, very intense. But I felt almost right away that Sony was trying to send a very clear message with this event. The message is that this is a company that has been at the center of the entertainment industry for decades. Like they have the engineers, they have the technology, and they have the cultural weight that the rest of the industry has sort of struggled to maintain over the years. So if you're one of those people who came in skeptical that the word like premium still means anything in the TV world, this event was built specifically to push back on that idea. And while Sony can put out a really good event, they are really good at that, they make even better TVs. There's Sony Bravia 9 Mark II and Sony Bravia 7 Mark II, both of them true RGB TVs. That is Sony's version of RGB LED. And to my eye, they are the best representation of RGB tech in TVs today. And I don't even think that it's close. You're getting incredible reflection handling, you're getting reference monitor color accuracy, and Sony's legendary processing power. And like, I'll go deeper into all this stuff whenever I review each one of these sets, but just know that all of this stuff is going to come at quite the premium price, which is exactly why I mentioned that TCL and Sony deal in the intro, and why that deal makes a lot more sense than what the headlines are suggesting. Sony, and some of you might not know this, as great as their TVs are, they actually haven't manufactured their own TV panels since like the Trinitron days. They've been buying panels from other companies, including like Samsung, LG, and even TCL for years. What's changed is that making a TV competitive in 2026, it kind of means that you sort of have to own the panel supply chain in the manufacturing scale, and Sony doesn't have either of those, but TCL does. Now, TCL's been building their own panels through TCL CSOT for years, and they are about to bring online a $4 billion plant that's the first in the world to inkjet print OLED. So the new joint venture, Bravia Incorporated, starts in April of 2027 with TCL holding the majority stake, and then Sony is going to provide like sort of like the processing pedigree and the design language, while TCL is going to provide the panels and the factory floor. The brand that used to represent like the tippy top of premium TVs is now functionally going to be a software and sort of like tuning layer sitting on top of TCL hardware, which means that every Bravia that you buy in 2027 and going forward, at its very core, is kind of going to be a TCL. And if that doesn't tell you that the brand hierarchy is gone, then nothing will. So, what does this actually mean for you as a buyer? Well, good news is that it means mostly good things. You just need to kind of reframe how you think about TV brands. The word cheap and expensive used to mean something pretty specific when it came to TVs. Cheap meant that you were giving up real picture quality in order to save money, and your options were primarily locked into kind of certain brands. Expensive meant that you were getting very specific things that you genuinely couldn't get in any other way, and only certain brands were going to be capable of providing that. Neither one of those things is true anymore. The cheap end of the market got dramatically better over the last several years. A $600 TV today does things that a $2,000 TV couldn't do 4 years ago. Brightness, color motion, gaming features, and even build quality, all of that crept up across the board while prices stayed roughly the same or even came down. And the expensive end, it took its own leap forward as well, just kind of in a different direction. Again, RGB mini LED, micro RGB, even QD OLED, true RGB backlight, all that kind of stuff. The stuff at the top is doing things that genuinely didn't exist as consumer tech just 2 years ago. While the gap between like cheap and expensive is still real, I'm not saying that it's completely disappeared. It just doesn't line up with the brand on the bezel in the way that it used to anymore. Like a $1,000 TV from TCL or Hisense is competing with an $1,800 Samsung or $2,600 Sony nowadays. A $6,000 TCL flagship is competing against the best OLED that LG can produce. And that makes TV shopping a lot more complicated than it's ever been, and it's why a lot of people are starting to get kind of tripped up with their shopping lately. The first place that they go wrong is that they'll buy the logo instead of buying the model. I had somebody email me last week asking if a $1,400 sort of lower tier Samsung was a good buy. In that very specific situation, in their specific room, the honest answer was no. Not when the same amount of money gets you a Hisense U8 that can run circles around that specific TV for their specific scenario. Somebody sees LG or Samsung on the bezel and just assume that it's an automatically safer pick over something like a TCL or a Hisense at the same price. 5 years ago, that was generally good advice. Today, it might mean that you were willingly or unknowingly walking past a better TV just because you have a bias as to what's going to be on the bezel. Now, the lower end models from these premium brands, I'm not saying that they're bad sets. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's just that they're not where those brands are putting their best engineering nowadays, where we have to sort of wait for that tech to sort of trickle down, whereas TCL and Hisense, they've been sort of doing that from the beginning, so you're seeing a lot of the benefits from it trickling down already at their base. Now, I think the flip side to that whole like bezel brand buying mistake is dismissing TCL and Hisense entirely just because of what they used to be. My dad still won't buy a Hisense. Like, if you try to ask him why, like, he won't really be able to tell you. He just knows that they were the cheap option back in the day, and that's kind of where his impression of them got stuck. But that mentality is sort of like not going back to a restaurant because like your meal was bad in 2017, even though reviews are currently really good for that restaurant. TVs like the Hisense U7 and U8 lines are some of the best mini LEDs that you can buy at their price point. The UR9 will be regarded as one of the best TVs this year, and TCL is sitting with an incredibly solid range of products from their lower tier, something like the QM6K mini LED, all the way up to their top end QM8L and X11L SQD mini LEDs. There's sort of a TV for everybody nowadays. Now, just because these budget brands have gotten a lot better does not mean that these premium brands have gotten worse. Sometimes more expensive does automatically mean better. There are scenarios where things like Sony's processing or like Samsung's anti-glare coatings or LG's software polish is worth coughing up the extra change for. The shift in the industry isn't that these value brands are just catching up to the premium brands. It's that every brand has gotten better at serving a wider range of consumer needs. 3 years ago, around $1,000 for like a living room set used to get you sort of maybe like a mid-grade Samsung that did everything fine, but it didn't, particularly excel at anything. Today, that money gets you a brand new shiny LG B5 OLED, like if your room runs dark and you want like that infinite contrast look, or you can get like TCL QM7K if you want like a brighter mini LED with really serious color accuracy. Two very different TVs at the same budget, and both of them are better than what that same money got you like 3 years ago. Now, if you can stretch that into like $1,500 to $2,500 range, you're getting something like an LG C5, which if you've seen my videos, you've probably heard me talk about how much I love that set ad nauseum. If you want the top premium enthusiast experience for a TV, then something like the Sony Bravia 9 Mark II, something like a TCL X11L, or a Samsung S95H. There's something for every consumer scenario with each of these TV brands now. It's not just like you kind of picking and choosing depending on the brand, which kind of means that the real question stopped being how much money should I spend, and the real question is like what version of premium that actually matters in the room that I am putting this TV in. So if you take anything away from this video, please stop shopping based off of the brand tier only. Shop based off of the sizes you need, shop based off of the room that it's going in, off the content that you watch the most, and the budget that you're working with. Start there and then sort of work your way back around to the brand name. The brand name should be the tiebreaker, not necessarily a starting point when it comes to buying a TV. The brand that you've got preconceived notions about may end up surprising you, or the brand that you thought that you couldn't afford may actually finally have something for you in your price range. So let me know in the comments what sets you're looking at, what's your budget, and what kind of room that you're working with. And I'll either point you towards something useful or tee up the next video around what people are actually talking about. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.